look who I have here. Dr.
All right.
Rachel Francis.
I feel
Oh,
confused about the cameras again. Okay, whatever the red light's on. Right?
when the red light's on, that's the one. From the Marion Animal Hospital.
Hi.
And hello, and it's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And I must tell you, Marley's coming
Oh, good.
in the beginning of December. It's the first week. I think it's a week from Wednesday.
We'll get
She'll
ready.
be there.
We'll get ready for Marley. I'll tweak the scale.
Yes. And you know,
Well,
what
Dr.
I-
Tremblay came in at the end of last week, and he told me our scale is 7 pounds less than the doctor's scale.
Really?
He says that every time, though. So
Does he? That's Dr. Tremblay, she said. He used to
said,
run the Marion Animal
scale-
Hospital.
he says
And
it
I
every
know
time,
just
and I'm
how
like-
he is.
I'm
you
like,
know?
I don't know, Doc. I think it's accurate because we compared it to the other scales.
Yeah. Was he trying to skimp his own weight? Is that it?
Yes,
Or-
he keeps
oh.
careful watch on that.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's very health conscious.
He was funny
Mm-hmm.
when he was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
He one time came in and tried to be funny with me with Shadow, you know. He had a big red flag on Shadows.
Yeah.
And that was a warning on Shadow.
You didn't tell me the story.
Yes. He always had a warning on Shadow.
Right.
And he knew exactly how to handle him. He would never leave him in the room with me.
Mm-hmm.
He would take him right out of the room
Take him?
and take care of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he would come out and he said, someday that dog is going to put you in the hospital, you know? And he never did,
Well, that's good.
you know. But, you know how Shadow was. So that was my biggest fear when Dr. Tremblay retired. I said, oh my God, what am I going to do with Shadow?
I never got
But
bit.
you handle Shadow very nicely.
All right.
I know.
No, nobody got hurt.
Nobody got
Except
hurt.
you.
Now I got a new thing. Yesterday I
I know I'm funny.
noticed.
I know I'm funny when Steve laughs because I got it. I'm waiting for that now.
I was looking for looking at my leg, and I saw a black spot on it that I didn't think belonged there,
okay.
and it was a tick.
No.
So I had to pull the tick off, and on the leg it was odd because it didn't show anything.
Yeah.
You know, and I was able to crush it rather easily with my nails. So I don't know if it was on its way out or not from maybe being on Marley.
Right.
And because Marley has stuff on her in preparation, you know, for any
Isn't that
ticks
like
or
flossing
fleas.
before you go to the dentist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The day of.
I don't have a shot for Lyme disease, so
No. You know, I don't
she's
know why.
more prepared than I am.
I've lived here and down here for let's see, my daughter's 6, and I used to practice in Worcester, and I've been on the East Coast since I was 12. But I mean, the ticks are I've never seen ticks like we have right in this area down here, and I know it's bad out on the Cape too and the islands, but for some reason the last couple of weeks I've had people who just moved here who are totally unprepared. And, you know, I'm talking about Lyme shots and drops and collars and the ticks, and everyone's got Lyme, and they're looking at me like I have 3 heads, and I'm like, no, it's really bad down here.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm trying to educate them on the, I forget how the rest of the country isn't as
No, it
as
isn't.
sensitive. I mean, you see a tick maybe now and again, but yeah, it's a conversation I've had a few times recently with people who just moved here.
Yeah.
You know, about how to protect themselves. I'm like, around here we wear our socks over our pants. You know, like you'll see people walking
Yeah.
around like that.
Well, what I did was it showed no mark at all, but overnight now I've got a red spot.
Okay.
So, but it's not well, immediately I went on the computer to look for signs. Well, what's going to happen, you know? And so I may go get it checked out just to be safe.
You should.
And get an antibiotic.
I
But
say the same thing to owners when their dogs test positive for Lyme. I say, should let your doctor know,
yeah.
honestly.
So I'm going to take care of that. But that's the first time for me with the tick.
With the tick, really?
Yeah.
That you know of.
Yes.
Because they're really small.
Yes. But this was, yes, they are. They're tough. And I've been walking Marley. Been trying to walk her.
Good.
And because she's litter box trained, as we know, so we get lazy and we don't walk
I thought
her.
of you this morning when it was pouring down rain. Neither of my dogs wanted to go out. And I said, well, if I had a litter box.
Yeah. Now see, Shadow, on the other hand, he didn't care.
Right.
I went out with an umbrella. I had a deal with him. When we went out the door
You
and
made
it
a lot
was
of deals
raining,
with Shadow.
when we went outside and it was raining, I would go to the car and he would just jump in the car because he knew, you know, it was raining. So we would go to where the wooded area is in
okay.
my area,
Okay.
and I'd stop the car and he would come out and I had an umbrella that would cover both of us. I had a big golf umbrella. It would cover both of us, and I would say, go. And he would go real fast and we'd right back in the car.
Get back into
he
safety.
Knew. You know? I mean, the dog knew.
The dogs didn't want to go out, but I have 4 ducks.
Oh, that's
And
right.
they
Out
were
with the
they
duck.
were they were thrilled. They love this weather. They were thrilled. They just wander around. They're just thrilled. The harder it rains, the better they like it.
So,
So cute.
anyway, to talk about animal stuff, what's happening with animal stuff other than the ticks?
Let's see.
New people moving in the area.
Yeah, I
learning
feel
and-
like we've had a lot of new people coming in, and there's been a couple of new flea and tick products that have come on the market that we're looking at.
What are they?
Flea and tick. There's a
Oh,
new
flea and tick.
Yep, there's a new flea and tick collar that we're looking at. So everyone that's been buzzing around that. It's supposed to be waterproof.
Oh.
I will let you know. I am
Okay.
very skeptical of new products, so I tend to like to be the one that gets it the year after everybody else gets it. But their claim is that it's waterproof, so that you can go in the ocean. You can go, because around here, a lot of our pets spend time on the beach, spend time in the water. You know, and my dogs are always rolling and stuff and need a bath. So apparently it can get wet, and it still will provide really good flea and tick protection. So
I never even thought about that with the water damaging a
right, well,
collar.
yeah. Pets
Because-
actually have to get wet.
Yes.
Yours don't.
Well,
But a lot of people-
Marley does not like the pool.
But I'm sure you know people who their
and
dogs
Shadow
are
did-
always wet
Shadow
all summer.
did not like the beach.
Right. Yeah.
He did not like the beach.
Right.
He didn't mind walking along the sand and messing in the whatever comes out of the water. I can't think of the word right now.
Yeah, so I mean, the tick products
But
will
he
work
wouldn't-
that we have work great unless you wash them off all the time.
Ah.
So I have some patients who are just wet all summer. You know, they're just going to the beach with the family every day or every weekend, and they're just all that powders and medicines getting washed off them, and then they're vulnerable. So it's an issue. It's definitely an issue. So we've been trying to look at other ways of handling it. But there's a new collar out, so I will let you guys know. So that's exciting. People have been talking to me about that. We had a winner for our Halloween contest.
Oh,
And I was supposed to bring that information, and I didn't.
I saw it on Facebook.
This year we did it a little different, though, because last year there was a huge problem because we didn't have a People's Choice. So there was like a Facebook winner last year, and so we just did it. We just picked our own favorites from all of them. So this time we had a People's Choice winner, too, from the Facebook winners. And I think it was the little one dressed like a cop, right? So cute.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. And the other one was the king.
Yes!
Yes. Oh, he was.
That was my favorite.
He was. He was beautiful.
Fits his attitude perfectly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was a lot of fun. I think we had over 40 entries.
Did you? Yes.
Yeah.
I like the one that. Oh, what? I can't remember her name, but her son is the moderator, not the moderator, but the backup moderator for the town of Wareham, and she had the dog dressed up as you, Dr. Francis. I remember, and had the sign under the dog said Dr. Francis. And you know who I'm talking about. And she,
Donna June Wesley.
huh?
It was Donna June.
It was Donna Ashley.
Oh, Ashley, yes.
Used to be a Wesley.
Ashley,
Ashley.
yes, yes. And he's the.
I think her son put her up to that, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he likes to tease me. He's a joker.
Yeah.
So
He does a good job as a backup moderator
Yeah.
at town meeting
Yeah.
many times. You know, you can't fool around with him.
he's a good man.
Yeah, he is. He's good. But
Deceiving though, because he doesn't crack a smile.
No,
No.
but
It's
he's
like
very
he's deadpan.
Yes.
So it's like the-
yeah.
right. Right.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about was these people that are cruel to animals,
I brought my list.
and I
This is my list of naughty. No, I'm just kidding.
naughty people. It's just I think maybe they should be prosecuted stronger.
This is a really good topic, and I actually thought I knew a little bit about it. I used to work at an animal shelter almost exclusively near Worcester, where I would take care of the intake animals, all the animals that needed surgery, and I would do the veterinary care. And that shelter was about 5,000 intake a year, and she did about 4,500 adoptions a year. So she euthanized very few animals. But it's been a while since I looked at it, so I actually learned some things doing research for you for this. So animal cruelty used to be a misdemeanor. 2004, in the state of Massachusetts, we changed that, and now it's a felony.
Good.
So you can actually get up to 5 years in state prison, and you can be fined $2,500, and your animal gets removed.
Now, how much do they do that to, sometimes you read the story and you know what you can face.
Yeah.
But do you?
I think
Really? Do they go to the heavy sentencing?
in Boston, where the police officers are trained as animal control officers, it's very different.
Then here?
It depends on the police force and how well they're trained and how much time they have as well, So I think when you're dealing with a lot of other issues, the animals sort of fall lower on the list. But in Boston, there's a specially trained police force. It's actually trained by the MSPCA, although they are policemen. They work for, our taxes pay for them. But they're trained by the MSPCA, which is an independent organization. And there's quite a few of them, and they go and actually do and enforce our animal cruelty laws in the Boston area. They do extend the rest of the state. So some of them are state troopers. So that's
Okay.
different. So they can actually have state jurisdiction, but there's not very many of those. So they're a little bit farther flung. So if you see animal cruelty, you have to report it to your animal control officer. We have an excellent animal control officer in Wareham now. We're very lucky.
Oh, yes. Cheryl is
She's a police
excellent.
officer. Some
Yeah.
towns aren't as fortunate, and the animal control officer is a civilian who is volunteering. And that's a lot different situation. So then she or he would have to call in the bigger guns, and that can take time. So the more time you have in these cases, the more likely it is you're not going to be able to persecute, enforce, things like
Yeah.
that. So we had a case where we had a dog that was the policeman brought in, and I know he was taking that. It was neglect, and he was taking that family to. He was going to try to charge them with the full extent of the law. I don't know what happened in the case because that's not public record, but it does happen, and it just happened recently at our hospital. We had a dog brought in by a police officer. We held it. We had to do all the forensics for him. She did live. She got better, and then she was rehomed, and he took all the information and took that family to in front of the judge. I'm pretty sure. That's what he told me. So I think it's getting more. The MSPCA. We're in Massachusetts. We have this amazing group called the MSPCA. They were the original in our country. They were the original cruelty organization, and they were founded in mid 1800s.
Oh.
And their goal was were not focused on the dogs. Their goal was to help the horses at that time. At that time, the carriage horses were very poorly treated, and they were just dying in the streets, and it was just a huge issue. And so they started with that, and then quickly they became interested in the link between cruelty to animals and cruelty to children. And they were the ones that have demonstrated that is very closely associated. People who are cruel to animals often are cruel to children as well.
That's right. That's what I say all the time.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
So, and they started a separate organization around the turn of the century, 1900s, for the Association for Cruelty to Children. And they separated off. And then the MSPCA now is more focused on, they still do a lot with horse work, but they're mostly dogs, cats, farm animals in general, pet stores in general, things like that. And they do legislate for us. They do advocate for animals for us. And if you're interested in finding out, that they have a list of current bills that they're trying to get passed. And if you're interested, you can go to their website. It's the mspca.org website, and you can go to the legislation. And there's a list of bills. And they actually had a scorecard, too. I thought that was very interesting. They have a scorecard for our senators and for our state representatives.
Oh, really?
For how they're voting. They just published it. It's each representative is listed and how they voted, animal friendly, animal not, or actually advocating a good bill or a bad bill. And it was a whole list of, it was a scorecard. So I was like, oh, that's very interesting.
Yes, it is. I'm not going to ask you how well we did in this area, but do you think that this MSPCA should be maybe, like you said, we have a good, we're very lucky here in Wareham with the animal control officer that we have, but there are other areas that
Yes.
maybe they need the
Yes.
instruction that is given heavily
Right.
in Boston.
They do not have the resources.
Is
they're-
that the reason? It's
Yeah.
the resources?
Yeah, and I think
Can the police, just say, I'm thinking now a bigger police department like New Bedford, it's a city, so they got a bigger police department there. So could the police department in New Bedford contact them and ask them if they could come in and train certain people?
yeah, I think that's the way
Is
it's
that
organized.
is that a
Yeah, as far as I
that
know.
is an opportunity?
Yeah, and they're not a government organization, the MSPCA. They're an independent nonprofit. So the policemen are part of our state force. But training for that kind of stuff, they have a program. I believe the Animal Rescue League around Boston, too, also has a separate training program for policemen. So the policemen are trained in two different ways. But I think one of the things that really has been the thrust recently is that one of the things the officer was telling me about that pit bull that they brought to us this year, he said, there's children in that family. So by having the laws in place to put the heat on a neglected animal and getting that focus on the situation, a lot of times other things come to light.
Uh-huh.
So, and the association is strong. So if there's abuse or neglect of the pets in the family, there's very likely to be the same thing going on with the children. And having the stronger laws about the animals helps families because you have that positive, you have that link right there. So they can get in there, they can take a look, and the policeman actually can go into the house if he sees cause, if there's an animal neglect, he can go and inspect. And if he sees anything that needs social services, then he has to make that call. Mm-hmm. So that's that's probably one of the biggest benefits of having stronger animal cruelty laws is that it really helps children.
Well, not only that, there's another domino effect to that. If you go in the house and find out that the children are being abused, but if you don't find that out, okay, by getting in there because of the animal abuse, the children grow up and think it's okay to do the same
Oh,
thing
absolutely. Absolutely.
to the animals.
Right. It's definitely a
Because
learned behavior.
obviously my first thought when I hear of something happening to an animal, I mean, I'm not talking about somebody going out with a gun and shooting an animal by mistake, okay? Because it does happen, obviously. I mean, if the vice president could shoot his friend out there accidentally, I have to agree that accidents do happen.
Okay.
I don't think he really meant to shoot his friend, do you? But, so, and that's got Steve laughing in the background.
I know. We know we're funny when Steve's laughing.
And so anyway, I'm losing my train of thought.
So he shot his friend. It was an accident.
Yeah, there are accidents, but most of the time, I think that they're done cruel. It's done out of, oh, it's fun. Let's see if I can. You know, you're out target practicing. A kid is out there target practicing, which he shouldn't be doing, and he's going to try to get to shoot an animal that's moving that he hits the.
Yes.
You know.
And that
And when you hear
behavior,
that,
yes,
yeah.
that behavior is linked to all kinds of criminal, like those. It's been demonstrated now that people who do those things often become homicidal, will do all kinds of criminal activities. So that kind of behavior is associated with other criminal activities. So having animal cruelty laws is not just to torture the pet owner, you know, who's not had a rabies shot for a little while. It's to help the rest of us, the families, and get us all taken care of. And I think that I brought a list here of the animal cruelty laws for Massachusetts. And I knew about the proper food and water. I knew about the shelter. I did not know that it's unlawful for pet owners to, if you hit an animal on the side of the road, like if you hit an animal with your car, if you do not notify either the owner or a police person, it's considered a hit and run.
It is.
Yeah.
Wow.
In this state.
Yes.
In Massachusetts. So I thought that, I did not know about that. So I'm telling you, I learned some things when I was doing this research this morning. I also learned that if you are transporting your animal in the back of your car without proper restraint, that is unlawful.
I did that all the time with Shadow. Well.
So I didn't find out the details of that, but I thought that was interesting. And obviously, torturing, causing suffering, cruelty killing, maiming, all those kinds of things is unlawful and is a felony. But if you know about it, so it's the subject, so everybody involved can be persecuted. So if you sell the animal for that cause, if you go and get the animal for that cause but don't do the torturing or the killing, so that could be like you're saying, like illegal gun range activity.
Yes.
If you go and bring the animals to the gun range, knowing that that's the purpose You can be persecuted. Anybody involved with any knowledge of the cruelty. So it's a much bigger, broader law than it was before, and that's a felony. Or if you know about it going on and you don't do anything to stop it, permitting it on your premises, permitting it on your property, permitting it in your house. So let's say you're a landlord and you have a tenant that is subject to animal abuse. The landlord
Can be prosecuted?
because they didn't report it.
Wow.
Yeah, permitting it. So having knowledge of it. It's the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing with kids. If you know,
Oh, yes.
for healthcare
But I
workers.
didn't think it went as far
No,
as animals.
I didn't either. So these are all things that I've just learned about. You cannot willfully abandon an animal.
Yes.
That is illegal. And I knew that it was true for horses. You cannot leave a horse anywhere. But I didn't realize that you can actually get persecuted for leaving your dog when you move. That's illegal.
Wow.
Yeah. So all these things I just learned about all this stuff. So I think that's everything that I learned.
That's really
Oh, and the other thing
interesting
that was
we
interesting.
have these laws
Yeah.
and
So the other last thing that was on the list here that I thought was interesting was that if you fail to provide your animal with veterinary attention to reduce or end the suffering from a disease or injury, that was new to me too. I thought that was interesting because I knew that there was you cannot let an animal suffer, if you're seeing it languish. But the law actually states in Massachusetts that you have to have veterinary attention needed to reduce or end suffering from disease or injury. And that's the law.
wow.
Wow, I learned that too.
So there is probably a lot of things out there that could be prosecuted that are not being prosecuted because the people don't know
Yeah.
that the law exists.
I was unaware of how strong, because when I was doing this is 2002, I was doing this work till 2006. So this all changed about 2004, 2005. All these laws changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It really is because it like in the summertime I got myself in a bit of a pickle.
This is my list, and you can find this online. I don't know if you can see that, Steve.
Sort of.
This is on the MSPCA Angel site.
MSPCA
I'm, like, looking at the wrong camera there.
Angel site.
There you go. I just printed that out from the MSPCA Angel website.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
In the summertime, I got out of my car and I was walking into Target, and I noticed it was summer when we had all that horrible heat, and there was a little dog in a car with the windows were closed up and everything, and I saw that and it bothered me.
Yeah.
I went in because I'm the type of person, I don't do it much with Marley because Marley doesn't really
You don't leave
like,
Marley in a locked car in the middle of the summer?
No, I didn't do that to Shadow
That's
either.
good.
But with Marley, she really doesn't like riding
Driving
in the
around.
car.
Right.
She really is not crazy about
Mm-hmm.
it. So, but Shadow loved to be in the car. And I would go to a store if it was warm, and I left the windows partially open for him, and I would look at my watch before I got out of the car, and I'd be in the
Takes
store.
about 10 minutes. Takes
10
about 10
minutes, that's it, I'm out of there.
Before
you
the
know?
heat is...
And so I always did that. It was a habit. But if it was really warm out, I didn't take him. I left him home. But the thing was that I saw this little dog in this car, and it was still there when I came out, and I was in there at least 15 minutes.
Was it hot?
Yes, it was hot out.
But was the dog hot?
I didn't know because the car was all
Was it-
sealed shut. No, it wasn't doing that. But I went back in the store and I reported it.
Good.
And what happened was, I think they made an announcement in Target. And so when I left, she said, you know, if the owner goes to the car, I really have no,
Yeah, that's
we can only call
all
the
you want,
police.
though.
We can only call the police. And I said, okay, you know, I've done what I felt was necessary to do because of the little dog. He was one of those little dogs, you know. And so I came out and I walked to my car and I saw this lady come out and she went to that car.
Good.
So I mentioned it was me that made the call. Oh, the wrath that fell on me.
Oh, really?
She wasn't happy that I made that call. And she insisted that she had her air conditioning up to, the car wasn't running, but she used her air conditioning so that the car was so cold that when she left the animal, he was okay. You know, and that's what she said, but she was mad. She was mad at me. But it didn't bother me in a way,
Okay,
because I said I
so-
felt like I did what I
so-
felt I had to do.
Legally, if you had seen that animal in that situation, which is very unhealthy and can be, and basically it's cruel and unusual, and you didn't report it,
Yeah,
you could be persecuted.
yeah,
So,
Well, I just
so
felt,
if
you
you
know.
hadn't made the call,
yeah.
it's illegal not to make the call in our
Yes.
state. In this state, I don't want anyone to go to Texas and try that. I think it's a little different. But in
yeah,
this state, if you know about animal suffering and you are not reporting it,
yeah,
you are subject to, as if you had done the torturing yourself.
and I wasn't even thinking in terms of being prosecuted.
No, I'm saying-
myself.
I know.
I wasn't. I was thinking of
About
the
being
poor-
responsible.
for that little dog.
Yeah.
You know, I really felt bad for the little
So,
dog.
so if the dog died and Target, you had called Target and they knew about it, and the dog died, Target is liable.
Yeah, no,
Because
Target-
they hadn't called the
Yeah.
police. If they hadn't followed through and followed the appropriate
she
action.
said she would call the police
If the owner didn't
they
go
didn't.
out.
Yeah,
So because that's her responsibility.
yeah,
It's the same thing as if you saw a baby in the car.
yes, yes.
Well, not exactly the same thing, but it's getting closer. And I think
Yeah.
it makes perfect sense. Not because that dogs are children. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that it's a very, very similar type of behavior. And the animals can be the sentinels. The animals can be the canaries in the coal mine for those types of situations. So, and it can be an honest mistake leaving the animal in a car. You know, if it's early spring, it's suddenly warm. You know, you're
Yes.
running inside. You have
Yeah.
a million things going on. It can be an honest mistake. So it's not that we necessarily want to get anybody in trouble. I mean, things happen, but reporting it is our responsibility.
I just thought that one of the tricks for me was to look at my watch because time goes away very quickly, as we can see. It's
Especially
2
in
minutes
Target.
to-
Target's like a
look at this,
vacuum.
2 minutes
Oh my
to
God.
9 o'clock, and so you know time goes away really quick, and you don't realize it. You know that's why I look at the watch and I say, well, I've got just so much time to be in the store. And I got to get out
You know what
for
I
the
found out
dog.
recently? Our ACO has a Facebook page. Did you know that?
Who?
Our animal control officer
Oh.
has a Facebook page.
No, I didn't
It's
know
fantastic.
that. I have to have her come on here again. She did
Have
a
her
long
talk about
time
her
ago.
Facebook page because it's very informative.
Very informative.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. She posts a lot on there about. She'll post missing animals, which is fantastic. She posts anything that's running around rabbit or to be worried about. Wildlife information. It's great.
Yes. Steve, are we close to saying before we get cut off in the middle of a sentence?
1 minute.
1 minute. Anything you want to say in 1 minute
Or less.
or less?
No.
No. Put the spotlight on her and she just went quiet.
Yep.
Okay.
And
but
usually you can't get
anyway,
me to be quiet.
I hope that this was very informative.
It was
to
fun.
The,
It was fun. I learned a lot. What's my next homework assignment?
I don't know. Let me think about it. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a.
Maybe we could take requests from the audience.
Y-
What do you
yes.
guys want to know about for your
That's
pets?
right, especially for veterinarians.
If you guys
yes.
email me, if you guys email Pat, she can forward it to me and I can present it on the show.
Yes. So anyway, that's been our Monday, and it looks like the rain has ceased a little, so that'll be
Yes.
helpful. And we will see you. I will see you on Wednesday.